So online, social media loves to say that estimation is a waste of time. And it sounds cool, right? Stop estimating, just deliver. So in this video, I'm going to break down why estimation matters, even in Agile, the most popular techniques for estimation, including planning poker, but also looking at a few others that you might find more interesting, the real downfalls of estimation and what to do instead. And finally, I'll also talk about why people shouting the loudest about no estimates usually have never held a budget in their life. I'm a delivery manager and I've led teams across multiple projects worth millions of pounds. And let me tell you, I've sat in those meetings where stakeholders have asked, how much will this cost? How long will it take? Do I need 5 people or do I need 15 people? And you don't get to reply, we don't do estimates. We just measure team health. Try telling a CFO, don't worry about the budget, but look at our happiness index. That conversation will not go well. So Agile is about adaptability, but adaptability doesn't cancel the need for planning. It just means our planning has to be smarter. But let's be fair, why do so many people hate estimation? It's because they've experienced it at its worst. They've sat through painful, long planning poker sessions. They've seen estimates treated like commitments. You said this was a 5. Why isn't it done yet? They've seen teams punished when they get it wrong. So no wonder people push back. But the truth is, the problem isn't estimation itself. The problem is bad estimation practices. The reality is, budgets are real. Money is finite. Time is finite. So even in Agile, stakeholders will need a ballpark. They need to know, are we talking weeks? Are we talking months? Are we talking years? Thousands of pounds? Hundreds of thousands? Millions? Estimates aren't about predicting that future perfectly, but they're just about reducing the uncertainty to make informed choices. So think of it like this. If you're building a house, you don't need to know exactly how many nails you need, but you need to know whether the total build will cost 100,000 or a million. And that's what estimates do. They give you a reality check. So now we've understood the need for estimates, let's talk about techniques. The most common technique is planning poker. So here's how it works. The team discusses a story. Each person secretly picks a number from the Fibonacci series, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on. Everyone reveals their cards at the same time. And if there's a disagreement, you discuss and you vote again until consensus. The upside to this is it gets everyone talking and everyone has an equal view. The downside is it's painfully slow. I've seen teams spend 90 minutes estimating 20 backlog items, and by the end, nobody really cares. Planning poker works well for a small handful of complex items, but as a way of sizing the entire backlog, forget it. So let's have a look at some better techniques. The first one is bucket estimation. This works along the same lines as planning poker, but instead you have buckets labeled 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, Fibonacci series, and the team will then sort those items into those buckets using a reference story. And they do this individually, and then you can have a look and review at the end. Now, with this technique, it's so much less painful, and you can get through up to 50 backlog items in less than half an hour. Very quick, very easy, very effective. A similar technique, again, based on planning poker, is to think about stories from small to large. So use a line. On one side, it's the small side, and one side, it's the large side. And what the team does, again, silently, is place the stories along this line, okay? And again, it's quick, it's visual, and it surfaces that alignment quickly. So certain items might be up for discussion as a result. There's some items that are just placed there and everyone agrees that they're there as they work silently through the items. And these methods are faster and they're more fun. And teams actually engage in these items because they are quick, they're visual, and they allow the team to put a sufficient amount of effort in, but not too much time, which is the key thing here. So you might be thinking, okay, we've saved time, but is it as accurate? And the question really is planning poker accurate? And the answer is generally no, because estimates can be so wildly inaccurate and people will sort of anchor on other people's boats and bias will creep in and confidence generally collapses. So one alternative to this I found is Lunar logic. So with Lunar logic, you don't estimate tasks. What you do is you break down tasks sufficiently that they're all of equal size. And you can label that size 1 if it makes you feel better, but you break down the tasks so they're all of equal size, okay? And then you have all your backlog broken down into equal size tasks. That makes it so much easier in terms of planning, so much easier in terms of understanding how long it's going to take, the budget required, the people required, what you can do within a certain amount of time. It has the side effect, the positive side effect, of also really aligning the team on all the tasks, really breaking down the teams, making sure that you understand exactly what needs to take place. And actually, Lunar Logic gives you the option of 3 values. The first is to assign a task a value of 1, which is essentially a story point of 1. You can determine what that is as long as it's equal size for all the tasks that you break down. 2 is uncertain. So if there's an uncertainty, then that's something that needs to be looked at, and so that task can be put aside because it needs to be broken down, it needs to be investigated further. And 3 is it's too big. Now if it's too big, then it needs to be broken down, and you'll end up with a number of number 1 size tasks, okay? And then by the end of the estimation session, what you'll have is a list of size 1 tasks and potentially a few items which are left as uncertain. And you can go back and you can have a look at those in more detail, understand where the uncertainty is. And again, what this does is it aligns the team. The team understands as a whole all the tasks that need to be done and where the uncertainty is. So you're bringing out that uncertainty earlier, because often what I found is that you go in, you estimate a task and you say this is, I don't know, a 4. The developer begins to work on the task and then they discover that there is an issue and they have to spend a bit more time. Your sprint overruns and you end up not completing the work in time, and that's because that uncertainty wasn't identified early enough. With Lunar logic, you're able to identify that uncertainty early enough. All right, so let's zoom out and look at why any of this matters. We touched on this a little bit at the start. So when people say estimation is useless, they're usually speaking from the pain of poor estimation practice, not from the perspective of someone who holds a budget, because budgets exist and stakeholders need to plan. So if you ignore estimation entirely, you're basically saying, trust me, just keep paying us and hope for the best. That's not really acceptable. So here's a balance I've learned over the years. 3 points. Number 1, use estimates to inform budgets, inform staffing, inform timelines. Number 2, don't weaponize estimates. They're forecasts, they're not promises. And number 3, choose the right technique for the situation. And what's the right technique? If you're estimating a small, complex piece of work, use planning poker. If you're sizing a huge backlog, use buckets or affinity. If you're struggling with accuracy, use Lunar logic. It's not about the perfect method, it's about using the right tool at the right time. So if you're a Scrum Master or a delivery manager, or maybe even a product owner, here's what I want you to do. Don't dismiss estimation out of hand. Recognize its place. Ask yourself, what decision do I need this estimate to support? Budget? Staffing? Prioritization? Am I just doing it for the lols? And then pick the lightest weight technique to get you there. And always remember, estimation is about alignment, not perfection. So here's the bottom line. Agile without estimation sounds liberating, but it just doesn't survive contact with budgets. Budgets don't care about your philosophy. They don't care about your team health metrics. They care about whether the work gets done within the money and the time available. So don't just throw out estimation, fix it. Use faster techniques, use simpler stories. And above all, use estimation as a tool for insight, not as a stick for punishment. To help you out with this, I've created a free PDF guide comparing those estimation techniques I've talked about today, when we use them, when to avoid them, and the link for that is in the description. Hopefully watching this video will help you stop wasting hours on broken rituals, and it will help you start estimating smarter. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this one about how to make your standards more effective. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you next time.